So, good morning to one and all. Uh, Today, we are going to see about the concept of tsunami. What is the tsunami? What is the characteristic of tsunami? The objective behind this lecture is to know about as we are studying this all the different type of hazard, geological hazard, natural hazard. So, how to deal with these hazards and how to prepare ourselves if there is any hazard, what kind of chances, how much of risk preparedness and mitigation policy we have to apply to avoid such a means to minimize. We cannot avoid this such a tsunamis and earthquake and all because this one is a natural phenomena and it's having a geological origin because we cannot be stop any most of the hazards are of natural in nature it's a natural phenomena, so we cannot stop this one, so but we can avoid a property and life loss during this event. So that's why we study this paper, the geoinformatics in geohazard, as geoinformatics is emerging as one of the greatest tool, or we can say the greatest technology to study this all the concept, to study this all the concept, and after the studying this all the concept, we can going through the or we can able to manage the most of the hazard. How it, what is the chances of occurring this hazard and all. So we study in the previous some lecture about the flood, earthquake, landslide, which one was the hazard. But that all hazard, whatever the hazard we just study about, that most of the hazards are uh, having a more frequency than the tsunami. Likewise, the earthquake, you have a thousand of earthquake every year in all world. If you taking the scenario of all the earth, and if you are taking the scenario of a smaller magnitude earthquake also, so you have what we can have to say, you have a high number of flood, high number of flood in this one, high number of flood in all the world. So this is what does what we can say. Again, the now what is the tsunami? Now we are moving to the main topic. That what is the now content of this presentation is what is the tsunami? What is the characteristic of tsunami? What to do or not to do under the risk from tsunami? What is the tsunami risk in India and how we can assess? Multi hazard situation in coastal area, how many states are in exposed to this particular tsunami, and what kind of arrangement and what kind of things we can do for the betterment of the tsunami. So tsunami is a very what we can say, the tsunami is a series of wave. Tsunami is a series of wave with a long wavelength and period. Tsunami is a series of waves with a long wavelength and period. The time between crust and wave can vary from a few minutes to the hours over hours. So, tsunami is nothing but a series of waves that will be generated by the mostly the earthquake in the your oceanic side. So tsunami are often incorrectly called tidal waves. They have no relation to the daily ocean tides. Tsunami is a Japanese word meaning harbor wave. Tsunami is a word which is coming from the Japanese terminology where you have most of the area is covered by the plate boundary. The Japan is a we know Japan for a very advanced technology and all, but you may also know about that Japan is facing so much of this earthquake and tsunamis and all this activity on a very frequent basis. but they overcome all this with the technology and preparedness and analysis, hazard analysis and all. So this is how you can have what we can say, you can have a tsunami in the tsunami word coming from the Japanese word. That is the meaning of this one is the harbor wave. Now, how the tsunami is generated? This picture you can see and you can have an idea about that how the tsunami is get generated. So tsunami are generated by any large impulsive displacement of seabed level. So tsunami is generated in a ocean, okay, on a seabed. So you need a impulsive displacement. What is the impulsive displacement means? Uh, what we can say, the a disturbance in a oceanic surface. So that's why your waves will be generated. If there is any no disturbance, how your waves will be generated? So for generation of the your tsunami waves, you need a impulsive displacement. You need a impulsive displacement. Then earthquake generates tsunami by vertical movement of the sea floor. If the sea floor movement is a horizontal, if the sea floor movement is horizontal, a tsunami is not generated. A tsunami is not generated. So if the sea floor or floor movement is horizontal, if the sea floor movement is horizontal, the tsunami is not generated because they want a vertical movement, not the horizontal one. In horizontal movement, they cannot reach somewhere. So that's how you can study this one. The what kind of earthquake is needed? How much energy it needed to be created any tsunami? So earthquake of magnitude of more than 6.5 are critical for the tsunami generation. So obviously you have a oceanic bed, you have a sea, what we can say waves. So all these waves and sea waves and all this one is a very much of you can say the having a stable but having a pressure. A lot of pressure has been already applied to the oceanic surface by the waves and all the water. So density of water and all you know. So you can say that there is a more intensified disturbance is needed to generate a tsunami. A more intensified earthquake or movement is needed to generate a for the tsunami. So how much magnitude earthquake is required for this one? A magnitude more than 6.5. A magnitude which is more than 6.5 are critical for tsunami generation. Earthquake of magnitude 6.5 are very much critical for the tsunami generation. Tsunami are also triggered by the landslide. Tsunami are also triggered by the landslide into or under the water surface. Tsunami also triggered by the landslide into or under the water surface and can be generated by volcanic activity and meteoritic impact. Tsunami are also triggered by the landslide into the under the water surface and can be generated by volcanic activity and meteoritic impact. So the 80% of the or more than 80% is mostly generated by the earthquake, but sometimes it can be also triggered by the landslide under the water and also the volcanic activity and meteoritic impact. So this is some of the more possible reason how your tsunami can be generated. But as I already told you that the mostly reason is the what the earthquake is the most time or probable reason for the tsunami generation. Now in this picture you can see the tsunami waves formation, a submarine fault movement, landslide or volcanic activity. So whatever the cause is there, there is no issue regarding the cause. So if there is a submarine fault movement, if there is a submarine fault movement, landslide, volcanic activity, you have a what? You have a volcanic activity on all tsunami wave is generated. Tsunami wave is generated and waves approach shore When waves approach shore, they slow down. The waves and length of shorter amplitude become higher. So once you approach to the this when you approach to the this one approaching toward the surface, the waves are slowed down. Obviously, they lost their energy and all, but amplitude get higher. Amplitude get higher. So, how often tsunami occur? What is the frequency of tsunami? I already explained you that there is a as compared to the earthquake, landslide, and other flood and this drought is hazard. This one is a very comparatively less occurring phenomena. Okay, so on an average, there are two tsunamis per year in the Pacific Ocean somewhere, which cause damage near the sources. So on an average, only two tsunamis are per year in a Pacific Ocean or in a Pacific Ocean somewhere. So approximately in every 15 year destructive tsunami occur in the Pacific. So 15 year, you know, that is a good amount of time compared to the other other what we can say other hazards. The destructive tsunami, in if you consider as an Indian context, the last tsunami is in 2004 of December 26, 2004. You may experience this one that during that Indian coast interim impact seems to have occurred for the first time in history. So we facing this tsunami on December 26, 2004 in the Indian coast. So that time, you know, that all the most of the what we can say the people are helping the coastal people from the coastal region and who is impacted by the tsunami. All the donation and all the things in is going on in our during the childhood. That yes, there is a tsunami, a large life losses, property losses are there. So now, how fast does the tsunami travel? What is the speed of tsunami? What is the velocity of tsunami? So velocity of tsunami is depending upon the water depth. Tsunami of the this one is depending upon the water depth. So the velocity equal to the square root of water depth. The velocity equal to the square root of water depth. H is the time of the gravitational acceleration. So velocity is depending upon the depth of the water. Velocity is depending upon the depth of the water. Then you have what we can say the tsunami can travel approximately at a velocity of 700 kilometer per hour. So you can imagine that what kind of speed tsunami waves can possess. This is a tremendous speed tsunami. That's why it is called as a tsunami. This is a greatest of the concern about the velocity and this one. Cyclone, anticyclone, hurricanes, and all this one is very much common. And their speed is also we already discussed. Their speed is also somewhere 200 kilometer per hour and something in most of the cases. But in the case of tsunami, what is the velocity of the waves? What is the velocity of wave? A 700 kilometer per hour. A 700 kilometer per hour in 4,000 meter depth of the sea water. So it's a fairly what we can say uh, the relationship between the depth and the this your velocity is directly proportional. If there is a depth is high, your speed will be high. In 10 meter of water depth, the velocity dropped to about 26 kilometer per hour. 26 kilometer per hour. Now this is a 2004 tsunami. This is a 2004 tsunami. Most affected region is your India and Indonesia. earthquake in around Indonesia here, and the wave is generated and reached to the your Indian part. So, for example, the tsunami from Sumatra coastal earthquake traveled to the Tamil Nadu coast in about 2 hours. So, how many time it takes to travel from the Sumatra to the this one? Only 2 hours. So that's how you can imagine what is the speed of that wave. What is the speed of that wave? Even on shore tsunami, even on a shore tsunami, speed is 35 to 40 kilometer per hour. Speed is 35 to 40 kilometer per hour. Here, so here much faster than the person can run. Okay, so the person cannot run 35 to 40 kilometer per hour. Yes, you can ride a bike, but you cannot run. So next is how big the tsunamis are. How big the tsunamis are. Tsunami range in size from centimeter to over 30-meter height. So what is the speed of the this one we already see. Now what is the height of the that tsunami? What is the height of the tsunami? So tsunami range in a size of centimeter or 30-meter over a 30-meter height. Most contents most contents are remain less than 3 meter in height. In the deep water, tsunamis are rarely over and uh, will not be notified ship due to their long period. So this is how long tsunamis are. We already seen that how the long tsunamis are. It's up to the 30-meter height. So 30-meter height is a very much. The height is enough to destroy most of the part. Then what does a tsunami looks like when it reaches shore? What does a tsunami looks like when it reaches shore? Normally, when tsunami appear as a rapidly advancing receding tide, its some cases are both of series or breaking waves may form. Sometimes the tsunami causes, sometimes what tsunami can travel, tsunami can travel to the what where we can say the tsunami can travel up the river and stream that lead to the sea. So, how is the tsunami differ from the wind generated wave? Wind generated waves usually have a period of 5 to 20 seconds. Tsunami period are usually between 5 to minutes and hour. So, this is how you can have a tsunami. This is how you can have a tsunami. A wind which can be generated waves, wind generated waves usually have a period of 5 to 20 seconds. Okay, what you have to do and what kind of things you can avoid during the tsunami. So tsunami is basically you all know is a waves which is generated from the what we can say the from the your earthquake. So you should find out if your home, school, workplace, and other frequently visited location are in a tsunami hazard area. So, uh, what height of your home above the sea level and the distance of your street from the coast or other high risk water is you should know. The evacuation order may be based on this number. So evacuation order based on this number. So you can plan, you can plan a better evacuation. Better evacuation plan is you can imagine for the or prepare according to the in which area you are belong. So if possible, if you are in an area of the tsunami indulated or this area, you should try to reach out the place which is 30 meter above the sea level. which is 30 meter above the sea level. Because what we are already seen that the most of the height, the average height of the tsunami is in the highest peak it may up to the 30 meter, not above that. In most of the cases, we are not saying here that it's only up to the 30 meter, but in the most of the cases, 90% of the cases, your height is up to the 30 meters only. So you can find out the area which having a more than 30-meter height, or you can go inland inside inland or away from the coast far as a 3 kilometer. So if you cannot get this high or far, go as high as far you can. Every meter inland or upward may take a difference. You should be able to reach your safe location on foot within a 15 minutes. Once you know that there is an earthquake and tsunami may occur, hour and 2 hours. If you find if you hear the from the authority, component authority on the radio or whatever the media you use to. So, if necessary, if you don't find any vehicle and all, footpath you can take. Footpath normally lead upfield and inland, while many roads parallel coastline. Follow posted tsunami evacuation route. This will lead to safety. Local emergency management official can advise you on a best route to safety and likely shelter location. So you mostly find out the places which is above the your whatever the sea level and all. Use of weather radio to stay tuned to local radio, television, and station, and to keep the informed of local watches and warnings. Talk to your insurance agent about this all. If you are visiting the area of risk of tsunami, check with the hotel and what kind of preparedness they have, what kind of what we can say the what kind of alarming system they have. So then if you are building a home, if you are building a home in the areas of the coastal areas, you should have what we can say the you should avoid to build this in a 200-meter high. So 200-meter is a minimum range which given that you should build your home after the 200-meter that buffer of the coastal area. So you can have a buffer zonation and all. Then you can make a list of items to bring inside the in event. So if you are not in India, it's a very rare phenomenon, but if you are in a region where the tsunami and all are the very frequent phenomena, that people are have to prepare themselves to such a scenario. Like Japan is prepare themselves for earthquake and all. So you can list the item which can be you have to protect during the tsunami, like radio and whatever the food and whatever the system, whatever the need of yours. If you are stay in that area only, or if you are blocked in that area, then you can elevate the coastal homes. So whatever the coastal home, you cannot be coastal home underground or something like that. You should have your coastal, if you are born, if you have a coastal home, that should be a 3 meter on high. That should be a 3 meter and high. Then elevating your house will help reduce the damage of your property from most of the tsunamis. Take precaution to prevent the flooding. Take all the precaution to prevent the flooding. So you know that the I already saying that the most of the causing phenomena, most of the causing phenomena for the earth tsunami is the earthquake, and that is earthquake is mostly related to the coastal region and oceanic or sea whatever. So if you coastal areas, if you in a coastal area, then if you find a strong coastal earthquake, if you find a strong coastal earthquake, then you should drop cover and hold your yourself. You should protect yourself from the earthquake damages. Okay, rather than going into the public and say that yeah, go and something like that, you should protect yourself first. So if each people can protect themselves, automatically the more generation, more people can be protected. Okay, so when the shaking is stopped, if you find the earthquake and when the shaking is stops, gather member of your household and move quickly as higher ground away from the your post. A tsunami be coming within a minutes. So if you are in a coastal region and if you find a strong earthquake, the tsunami is very near to you and it's maybe reach in an hour and or more. So if you are in on a land, if you are on a land, be aware of tsunami facts. Be aware about the tsunami fact. This knowledge could save your life. Share this knowledge with your relative and friends. It could save their lives. It could save their lives. If you are in a school, if you are in a school and you hear there is a tsunami warning, you should follow the advice of teacher and other school personnel. So this is how the precaution of all you can take. If you are in a boat, if you are on a boat, since tsunami wave activity is impossible in an open ocean, do not return to the port. If you are in a sea or a tsunami warning has been issued for your area, tsunami can cause a rapid changes in a water level and unpredictable dangerous current to the in a harbor and ports. If there is a time to move your boat or ship from port to deep water after the tsunami warning, you should weigh the following consideration. Most large harbors and ports are under the control of harbor authority and the vessel traffic system. These authorities direct operation during the periods of increased readiness, including the force movement of vessels. If deemed necessary, if the deemed necessary, keep in contact with the authorities that should force movement of the directed. So owner of small boat may find in a safest to leave their boat at the fire. So if you are boat, what can we do? This is what to do after the tsunami. Okay, so before the tsunami, you have to what can you do? I explain you during the tsunami what you have to do. Now the after the tsunami, so you should continue using the weather radio. You should continue the weather radio or staying turned to the Coast Guard emergency. You should continue to this one. Then if someone needs to be rescued, if someone need to be rescued, call professional with the right equipment to help. Many people have been killed or injured rescue other in a flooded area. So you cannot be what we can say the a superhero or act like a superhero and all. Most of the if you are a untrained person, you don't know about how to rescue the people. Stay away from the call the professional. So they know the better way. The NIDM and the state disaster management system and all the peoples are always ready to rescue all they are well equipped, they are well having a good training and all. So you should continue using this all. And if you someone need a rescue, call professional with the right equipment to help. Many people have been killed. So many people have been killed and injured during the rescue other in a flooded area. Okay, presence might hamper rescue other emergency operation and put you at a further risk from the residual effect of the flood, such as contaminated water, crumbled road, and landslide, mud flow, and the hazard. So this is what you can do. Telephone lines are frequently overwhelmed in a disaster situation. They need to be clear in an emergency to get through. Stay out of the building. Stay out of the building, and the earthquake, after the tsunami. Then, what is the risk of tsunami in India? What is the risk of tsunami in India? So, tsunami is having a not that much means what we can say the concern, or what we can say the in Indian context. The most of the tsunami are whatever the tsunami we are faced, that is a less number to the other hazard. So we faced this tsunami in India way back in 2004, 26 of December 2004. The So the Indian coastal belt has not recorded many severe tsunami in the past. Okay, so Indian this all are not what we can say the not facing that much of tsunami in the past. Yes, but whatever the tsunami we are facing, we cannot say that India is safe from this all. Tsunami can be a dangerous one once because the the most of the cities, the most of the coastal city are of at a huge risk, are of a huge risk. So, so the Indian coastal belt has not recorded many severe tsunamis in the past. Waves accompanying the earthquake activity have been reported over the North Bay of Bengal during the earthquake of 1881, which had an epicenter near the Andaman in the Bay of Bengal. Tsunamis were reported there. Above facts indicate that coastal region of the Gujarat is also vulnerable tsunami from the great earthquake. So you have whatever the coastal region we have, they are the mostly in a risk zone for the this tsunami. So what is this is a list of this table is a list of the global list of some historical tsunami death. This is a global list which is of the some historical tsunami death. So first one is it is in a chronological order mostly. This one is not the we can say the highest injuries, or it's not like that. It is in a chronological order. Whatever the tsunamis we know, we recorded. We have some record of historical earthquake, historical tsunami. So that record is given here in a chronological order. So first one is a 1692. Then you have a 1703, 1707, 41, 53, 83. Then 1868, 83, 96, 33, 46, 60, uh, 46. Then again you have 76, 77, 79, 83, 98. Uh, So this is a list of the global tsunami with the death. So you can see that the most deadliest one and this most affected tsunami is in what where it is in a Portugal. It is in a Portugal where you have more than 50,000 people has been uh, more than 50,000 people has been lost their life. Okay. So then you have in Japan, there is a place Sandrika which is mostly affected by this activity. In Chile and Hawaii is also mostly affected by the tsunami and all. This is a simulation. This is a simulation of the first wave. When the first, what is the timing arrival time of first wave? What is the timing of arrival of first wave in the area? So you can see that arrival time of first wave right from the this one. So that this is a time in hours 0 to 6. So you can see that where is the uh, this red reason suggests that they don't get a time to prepare and warning enough warning to be ready for this one. Say so this is how the sometimes the tsunami has been what we can say the tsunami can affect the area. So this part of the India is mostly not get that much of the warning. Maybe 2 to 3 hours warning is what we are getting there in the time. So that's why the loss is having a major the most of the loss because of the don't have a time to prepare and this one now. This is a list of the tsunami which India faced. So you can have eight tsunamis. So for right from we have record right from the 1762 where we have a equation in Bay of Bengal which is generated tsunami wave of 1.8 meter in a coastal Bangladesh. Then in 19th August 1968, you have a earthquake magnitude of 7.5 in a Bay of Bengal. So tsunami waves run up level at Port Blair. Then you have a earthquake of magnitude that is a 7.9. Earthquake of magnitude of 7.9 you have in a Andaman Island. Then you have a earthquake Karnataka volcanic explosion in Indonesia can also have one earthquake event. Then earthquake in the western part of the West Bengal. Then earthquake of magnitude of 8.1 in Andaman Sea. Tsunami on the east coast of the India with amplitude from 1 to 20, 125-meter long waves. Then you have a Megran earthquake in Gujarat. So you have a height of 11-meter what estimated in a Cambay basin of Gujarat and 2 meter at the Mumbai, where boats were taken away from their mooring. Then the last one and the what we can say the uh, deadliest one, the earthquake near of rare magnitude of the 9.3, which is a very devastated earthquake in the North Indian Ocean. So it generated a giant tsunami waves. The tsunami made extensive damage to many coastal areas of Indonesia, India, Malaysia, Maldives, and Sri Lanka and Thailand. So this is the countries which is affected of in a very bad manner in that during that time. A transoceanic tsunami observed over area beyond the ocean limit of origin. More than a 2 lakh people lost their life in above countries, which is a record. A 2 lakh is a big number in a 2004 with it's not that much of you we can say the which just we don't have a technology and all to rescue the people. So, but at the same time, when the urbanization and all these are at when it's going on, you are mostly moved to the coastal area. You can see that most of the cities right now in Chennai, Mumbai, and all in the all world also you can see the Sydney and Melbourne and all. These all cities are mostly on a coastal region. So whatever this tsunami, if the tsunami get hit by the such a earthquake generated to the this earthquake, you can have a impact. You can have an impact overall. What is the tsunami risk? So what is the tsunami risk? It will be assessed by the deterministic approach according to the following. So tsunami risk is equal to tsunami hazard dot exposure and vulnerability. This is what the tsunami risk is all about. For the tsunami hazard assessment, preparation of database of historical and archive information, newspaper archive, and this all are the relevant of Indian tsunami, which emphasis clearly on the December 26, 2004. The supplement the data from the computer based. simulation we can have, so that we can predict that how much it can be. Then you have a, what is the, for the vulnerability assessment, based on the earthquake vulnerability assessment define the vulnerability of various exposure element on the coastal island and reef environment in the ports and harbor. So the following parameter will need to define the tsunami source region. So when you are going for the any hazard map and all, so you need a proper information about the historical event, land use, land pattern cover of the your area, whenever whatever the area you are get targeted and all. So this is how you can predict and you can go with the earthquake. So what the GIS and the remote sensing can do? What is the application of remote sensing and GIS? You can have prepare. You can prepare the hazard map. You can prepare the hazard indulation map. The tsunami hazard map may be used. The definition of tsunami hazard zone is a preliminary estimate is given for the terrestrial environment. For the hazard may be presented at a indulation level in terms of run-up height at a specific land contour. For the marine environment on water, harbor, bay of reef, hazard may be given in terms of potential maximum wave height. So this is a characteristic. This is a characteristic what kind of study or what kind of preliminary analysis we need for the this one. So so what you need undulation level, means what kind of scenario if the earth, if the tsunami waves is more than 5 meter, if it is 3.3 to 5 meter, if it is a 1 to 3 meter, what kind of scenario, run of height, tsunami intensity, likelihood of the tsunami, damage observed in the earlier tsunami, coast adjacent to the tsunami. So this is all are the a different kind of this one. Then you have waves height is more than 2 meter, 1 to 2 meter, and one less than 1 meter. So what? So this is what the waves or height of the region. Then you have a reef damage. Then you have a reef damage. So this is what the all the parameter we are using. We are using for the what, a tsunami hazard zonation map. This is all are the parameter which we use for the tsunami zonation map. Then we have a, sorry. Then you have a tsunami vulnerability assessment. The exposure inventory with the vulnerability to tsunami impact for both the built and natural environment will. So you need to develop the shore and harbor. A potential damage is related to the hydrological control of wave erosion, flooding, and debris deposition, and consequent geotechnical control to damage by liquefaction, cracking, or slumping. This result into structural damage of building. So in the harbor, the vulnerability assessment is expressed as a detail of element of built, natural and human environment vulnerable to the potential tsunami related studies. So what the tsunami vulnerability mapping is all about? It is a vulnerability of potential tsunami related damages. This need to be considered in terms of tsunami hazard zone for the terrestrial environment around the shores and marine environment. So this is what the, how do you prepare a vulnerability map. Then you have a risk assessment also. By integrating the hazard and vulnerability, you can integrate and form a risk assessment. So this is what kind of information you need for the your uh, this one. You can have a building course, potential damage due to the wave action, land use planning, GIS mapping of all the area, training, rescue and response mechanism, all the plans, insurance, what kind of insurance is needed. Then you have a community education. Then all this pattern you are have to take into the consideration while you can put the tsunami hazard map solution. So that is how you tsunami is all about, and how you can prepare yourself for the tsunami indulation mapping. So thank you very much for listening this lecture related to the tsunami hazard zonation, how we map the tsunami areas and all. Hope you understand this all the concept and phenomena about the tsunami. You have your question in your LMS, 10 question in your LMS. You can go and solve this one, and stay home, stay safe. So whatever the hazard, if you are facing, you should know about uh, what we can say, the rather than in a hike or rather than in a stress, you should know about what to do, what not to do, and how you can to prepare yourself and how you can face this all the hazards. So information is more important. You should have proper information about this all. Thank you for listening this all. Thank you.